Picture this, you've planned your cruise, your bags are packed, the excitement is building, but accessibility issues are becoming a major headache.
A Carnival guest recently complained that crew members wouldn't help carry their mobility scooter onto a tender in Belize while they were still sitting in it.
The cruise line clarified that for safety and liability reasons, crew members are not allowed to lift passengers for any reason, though they can help get equipment on and off water shuttles. It's a reminder that not all tender ports are accessible, especially when weather creates complications.
But what if the problem isn't the port of call? What if you shouldn't be getting on the ship in the first place?
You pull up to the terminal, your trusty scooter all hitched up and ready to go, your faithful sidekick for the last 3 cruises.
You can almost smell the buffet, but then somebody with a clipboard and a smile shows up to talk to you. A tape measure appears and then you hear the words, "That's not getting on the ship today." Your vacation dreams are deflating like a punctured pool float.
Sounds like a bad dream? Well, it's the reality for a lot of Carnival Cruise Line passengers this month.
Today, we're unpacking why this new policy might leave many travelers high and dry, and what you and your family members, if they have mobility issues, should know so you don't end up being the next family to tell this story.
Welcome to Gen X Cruise Life. If you sunbathed with sun-in and baby oil when you were growing up, then this is the cruise channel for you.
We've got a quick update on our Amazon Cruise Essentials giveaway contest. We just got a picture from Dan, last month's winner, wearing the hat that he picked from last month's contest. It's not too late for you to enter to join the September contest. All the details will be at the end of this video.
So Dan just got back from a cruise on Carnival Celebration, and that leads us into today's Carnival story.
So as we said in the intro, a Carnival guest recently complained during a stop at Belize that the crew members would not help this guest get off the ship while they're sitting in their scooter. Now, it's been our experience that the crew just bend over backwards for the guests. They do everything they can to make your trip as wonderful as possible. But asking them to lift a scooter while you're sitting in it that could be several hundred pounds is way beyond the call of duty.
So we decided to look into Carnival's policy on this matter, and what we found was that they recently changed their policy. They announced it in March, and it went into effect July 1st. If you know somebody with a mobility scooter, you're going to want to share this video with them.
Carnival's new policy isn't a gentle suggestion, it's a hard and fast rule. If your mobility scooter can't roll into your cabin and you can't shut the door properly, then you need to leave your mobility scooter at the dock at embarkation.
The magic number for that doorway? A mere 22 inches. Not a lot of wiggle room. Anything wider, and you must have booked a fully accessible cabin, which has a much more generous 32-inch entry opening.
And let's be clear, Carnival says it's making no exceptions to this rule. 0. You can't even leave it out in the hallway for a minute, not even to charge it.
Guests who show up with a unit that's even a half an inch too wide are being denied boarding. And the kicker? The company's not offering any compensation.
The only real workaround is to ditch your old scooter at embarkation and rent a new one from one of their preferred vendors called Scootaround, if one is available.
It's an unexpected expense and a last-minute scramble, not exactly the chill vacation you were planning on.
So why the sudden crackdown? Carnival says it's not about making your life miserable or more complicated, it's about safety.
The parked scooters in the hallways are not allowing people to get by in a safe manner. Imagine hundreds of people trying to get by a parked scooter during a muster drill.
It took crews twice as long to get everybody to their muster stations. In the event of a real emergency, this would have been a disaster.
And this just isn't about hypotheticals. On one patch of rough seas, a scooter actually fell over in a hallway and blocked the entire corridor.
The International Maritime Organization has guidelines allowing the corridors as slim as 36 inches. Park a 23-inch scooter in the hallway and you're left with only about 1 foot of clearance. That's barely enough room for a person to squeeze by, let alone a stretcher or a fire crew.
Carnival insists this rule is to keep routes clear for everyone. Fire-rated doors can't close properly if handlebars are in the way.
So while this might feel like a major pain, the cruise line argues it's just to keep everybody safe.
The internet did what the internet does and went into a full-blown meltdown after the July 1st enforcement date.
The Facebook groups for Carnival fans just exploded over this mobility issue. A couple from Ohio shared a soul-crushing story that they drove 9 hours to the port only to be turned away because the scooter was too big. The agent was there waiting for them with a measuring tape. It was just a couple of inches too wide. They were denied boarding, vacation canceled.
Another passenger, a veteran of 31 cruises, 27 of them with Carnival, was in disbelief. She'd always used the same four-wheel scooter up until now and never had a problem.
Carnival's official response? We updated everybody on our website back in March. But what people were pointing out was that these were buried deep in the FAQ sections, and many people don't read that. Let's be honest, who really reads the terms and conditions before boarding? We all know we should, but do we really? Especially if you've sailed a dozen times?
We all just click agree and hope for the best. This lack of a heads up left a lot of loyal customers feeling blindsided. Travel agents are now scrambling, forced to interrogate any customer that even mentions mobility aid, asking for exact dimensions and forcing them into a fully accessible cabin if necessary.
The path to least resistance, and the one that Carnival is really pushing, is to rent one from its preferred vendor, Scootaround. They make it pretty simple. They will meet you at the terminal waiting with a scooter, and they're about 15 inches wide and full, so they will fit into all cabins. The scooter then is delivered directly to your room, and you're only charged for the days that you're on the ship.
But of course, there are some downsides. The batteries on these smaller scooters are not as big, they don't go as far. They have a run of about 6 miles. That's fine for rolling to the Lido deck, but if you've got a long excursion planned, you might run out of juice. You're gonna have to plan your charging strategically.
And second, these things are gonna sell out quickly, especially on a holiday cruise. So if you think you need one, book it well in advance, at least a month. And a pro tip that we're hearing is you're gonna wanna bring a cushion. These seats aren't very comfortable, so you wanna get some padding.
All right, here's the part that matters. You're gonna wanna measure your scooter. Make sure you measure the widest part, which is usually the wheels. Don't guess, grab a tape measure, because you don't wanna, take someone else's word for it. Here's a breakdown of what your measurement means. If it's 21 inches or less, you're golden. Your scooter will fit in a standard room.
21.5 inches, you're in the danger zone. You have to book a fully accessible room. These usually cost about the same as a standard stateroom. However, there aren't as many of them, so you need to book early. They have the wider 32-inch doorways that you need, so book one immediately. Once you've taken your measurements, make sure you write them down, put them with your cruise documents, and take them with you to embarkation day. You can share that information with the port officials, and maybe it'll make the check-in process go faster. But here's another really important, crucial tip. Make sure you take off those baskets or any extras that are making your scooter wider, because they will count that towards your inches.
Yeah, and you don't want to be bringing wrenches to the cruise port to try to disassemble your scooter and get it smaller. While Carnival's new rules kind of feel like a shock, they're not alone. Other cruise lines like Royal Caribbean Cruise Line and Norwegian Cruise Line have similar rules. You're not allowed to park your scooter out in the hallway. Princess has a 10 p.m. curfew, requiring all scooters to be in the room overnight.
But maybe the coolest of all the cruise lines is Disney Cruise Lines. They actually have a charging closet on each deck that allows you to store your scooter. This is a simple and smart solution to keep the hallways clear. But still, the industry buzz is that all of the cruise lines are going to get more and more strict, just like Carnival did.
The safety arguments are just too hard to ignore. If you're loyal to a specific cruise line, here's a tip. Take a look at their online forums. Policy changes usually drop there first.
Seriously, if you were a family member or in a mobility scooter, go check the measurements now. Don't take a chance, and then look up the specifications for your cabin.
If you're getting some good information from this video, hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to share this with your friends, especially if they have a mobility scooter.
Carnival is quick to point out that this is not about limiting access. It's about reallocating space in a very, very tiny hallway.
They point out that every ship has between 15 and 30 fully accessible rooms. They also say that if your scooter is turned away, they'll give you a complimentary wheelchair to use.
Critics, however, argue that this punishes people that can't afford the larger suites, which would accommodate the larger mobility devices. These are the guests that rely on some very specific devices, and now they're either forced to cancel or rent a device.
Carnival's reply is that their accessible cabins cost the same as their regular ones. They also claim that if you booked before the change went into effect, they'll move you into a fully accessible cabin for free.
Let's talk brass tacks. What happens if the bouncer at the gangway won't let your scooter on board? You can lose the entire cruise fare unless you bought one of those insurance policies that lets you cancel for any reason. Even then, those policies only pay about 75%. It's a tough pill to swallow nonetheless after you've paid for flights and hotels.
On the other hand, renting is an unplanned expense, but it's a lot cheaper than losing your whole vacation. A rental adds about the cost of a specialty dining package to your budget. That extra $150 to $300, it's annoying, but it's way better than rebooking an entire trip at the last minute.
But it's not all doom and gloom, I guess. The cruising world is evolving. Carnival has 2 brand new Excel ships coming out soon, and they're going to have more accessible cabins than ever.
Designers are even testing some new ideas, like charging drawers inside the cabin that vent the charging fumes to the outside. If that tech gets approved, it could be a game changer. But for now, the tape measure is king.
The takeaway is simple. The scooter tech is getting smarter, and the ships are getting better about the safety. If you plan ahead, measure twice, and stay informed, you'll be fine.
We're in a transitional phase where accessibility and safety, they're not really playing nice. But for now, knowing the rules can help guarantee a smooth trip.
So drop your scooter tips and your horror stories in the comments below.
Yeah, we want to know what you think. You know, it's kind of interesting with this whole accessibility conversation. It is a shared responsibility in the public. You know, somebody in a wheelchair or a scooter is going through a crowded area. We got to move. It's just kind of what we do. But in the hallway, where people in a possible safety issue have to get down the hallway, that's a different story.
Yeah.
You know?
And plus, you know, as we're getting older, our parents are getting older, we don't want them to stop cruising.
Right.
We want them to be able to have access to the fun.
Right. We definitely want that. But, you know, when you think about the cart, the guy pushing the cart down the hallway with the fresh towels and the refill on your lotions and all that stuff, that cart doesn't go down that hallway with the scooter in the way.
Right.
It just doesn't. We've actually seen that.
Right.
So this is a problem. Looks like they're making strides to get it fixed and, you know.
Yeah. Leave us your comments below. Let us know what you think.
We want to keep everybody cruising. And if you think this information saved you a headache, share it with somebody, hit that like button, that subscribe button. And now we've got a video coming up that YouTube thinks you haven't seen yet.
And the Amazon giveaway contest video. Find out about the September giveaway right now.